record of instability and weak political government, military domination of the political process, and military is still a political force. So the basic issue that is now very important once the polling is over, results are available to all of us. Can these political forces sustain the democratic trend and create a stable, coherent government at the federal and the provincial level? Now for that, they have to address 3 or 4 major issues, and I would very briefly mention those issues. That is, first, all governments are going to be coalition governments. At the federal level and even at the provincial level, they are going to have a coalition government that would involve the 2 major political parties and some regional political parties. Perhaps going back to the era of the 80s and the 90s before Musharraf knocked out the political leaders, where they used to have 2 major political parties and some regional parties coming together against the government or for the government. So you will have a situation where 2 major political parties plus regional parties join together to create a government. Can they create an agreed agenda and work on minimum agreed agenda, work on it over a period of time, 2, 3 or 4 years? That is an open question, because at the moment the priorities of the 2 major political parties, that is People's Party and Nawaz Sharif's Muslim League, their priorities are somewhat different. Although they talk of the same issues, but the priorities are different. So the issue is, can they develop a shared approach to achieve those objectives which are shared but not the priorities? Those objectives are, 1, restoration of the judges which were removed by General Musharraf in November, December. 2nd, doing away of the constitutional changes which he had made to protect his second tenure and also a lot of other things. Then the question of Musharraf's future. No, they all agree on these issues, but not on the priorities. For Nawaz Sharif Muslim League, restoration of judges and removal of Musharraf are the highest priorities. For the People's Party, it is adopting somewhat cautious approach if you look at the statements of the leadership. Now what they want is, first form the government, and then once you are in the parliament, evolve strategies to address these issues. A shared strategy. So government formation comes first, and then we will talk about how to deal with these issues. And then the PPP is also in a kind of discreet dialogue with Musharraf camp. Can there be some arrangement with Musharraf? And that causes panic in the other camp, especially in Nawaz Sharif camp. So that's one major issue. Now, second major issue to me, which is make or break issue for the new government, is the question of Musharraf's future. Now, Musharraf refuses to resign, and he thinks that he may be able to survive the situation that has emerged out of election for basically 3 major reasons why he appears to be confident. Because in the past, if you look at his track record, in the past he has reinvented himself on several occasions by outsmarting the political forces. So he has done it in the past, and he thinks he may do it this time. So that's his wish or hope, but we don't know. Second is that United States seems still keen to retain him in one way or the other in the new political configuration that is emerging in Islamabad. They want him to be there in one capacity or the other because they have banked on him that much that it is very difficult for them to accept a reality of his fading out. So that also gives him confidence that maybe US maneuvers, PPP, uses its influence and makes it possible for his political survival. Third factor that gives him sense of confidence is that traditionally political forces in Pakistan have been divided, and the establishment and Musharraf himself has been able to manipulate them to find some kind of way for himself. And the feeling in the Musharraf camp is that perhaps they can do the same thing, and these political forces would splinter easily, and then some maneuvering can be done. So that's his hope. But most political forces, political parties, want to get rid of Musharraf. And now Musharraf wants to work with them. But then his conditions are such that those will not be acceptable to the political forces. Now what he is saying that whatever has been done in the past, he removed the judges, he amended the constitution, he did a lot of other things. Forget about past. Don't touch past. Whatever has happened is fine, it's done, it's closed chapter. Let's start afresh from today. So he doesn't want any change in the kind of political arrangement he established after suspending the constitution in November and December. Maybe he accepts one or two changes, but not basic changes. This is what he is trying to tell them. And there is no indication on his part that he would like to step back from the kind of role he played in the past. He was pivot of power in the political setup that existed in Pakistan until the election. He was the central key figure. And he has given no indication, simply saying that I will be able to work arrangement with the political forces. Now this issue, forget the past, let's move forward, is not going to be acceptable to the political forces. And to me, a clash between Musharraf and the political forces is bound to be there, and that is going to be very destabilizing for the political forces, destabilizing for Musharraf and the whole system which is going to emerge in Pakistan. The problem is that if political parties accept Musharraf's framework, they lose credibility. And if Musharraf accepts their terms and conditions, then Musharraf becomes irrelevant to the new political arrangements in Pakistan. Another problem is that the lawyers are building pressure on the new leadership that you have to restore the judges, and the new leadership doesn't want a situation when these lawyers stage street demonstrations against them. They don't want to confront these lawyers in the streets. Therefore, you are going to see serious kind of developments maybe in 2-3 months' time.